Ancient Egyptian civilization. It is the longest continuous history of country in the world from more than 7000 BC, where Egypt was distinguished by the presence of the Nile River that cuts through its land, which was considered a catalyst for the establishment of an ancient civilization in it. Egypt is also located in a distinguished geographical location linking the continents of Asia and Africa and linked to the continent of Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. All this led to the establishment of a civilization known as one of the oldest civilizations in human history. The Great Sphinx is one of the most famous historical monuments in the Arab Republic of Egypt and in the Egyptian city of Giza in particular, and this is due to its unique appearance and its distinctive location near the Giza pyramids, which are among the most important symbols of the ancient Egyptian civilization. Along with this historical statue, and many point out history and archaeologists indicate that this great statue dates back to the ancient Egyptian civilization, specifically to the period of the rule of the 4th dynasty that ruled Egypt at that time. Some date the ownership of the statue to King Khafra, one of the ancient Egyptian kings. King Khafra lived in the period from 2575 BC to 2465 BC, which indicates that this Egyptian statue is one of the oldest statues that were carved, and it is believed that the construction of the statue came by the older brother Djefer to commemorate his father Khufu, who built for him the largest Egyptian pyramid, which is the Great Pyramid of Khufu. And the statue of Abu the Sphinx was of particular importance throughout the ancient Egyptian eras that followed its sculpture, and this emerged in the era of the 18th dynasty of Egypt, in addition to the period at the end of the 15th century BC and the beginnings of the 14th century BC, when a stele was placed between the feet of this statue in order to perform some Egyptian religious rituals on. There are also some different historical opinions related to the construction of the Great Sphinx and who is similar to this statue in its construction. There are some hypotheses that claim that this statue resembles King Khufu, and there are those who say that it resembles King Khafra, and there are those who claim that the statue was built in its foundation by King Khufu himself. The Sphinx has a similar name to one of the ancient Greek statues, the Oedipus statue, as both statues are symbols of ancient monsters that bear specific characteristics and connotations for whoever built them. As for the location of the Sphinx, it is above the plateau of the Egyptian city of Giza. The way in which the Sphinx was formed indicates the greatness of the architecture of the ancient Egyptians, as this statue was carved entirely from a huge limestone rock that was present in the region, and the magnitude of the statue was the reason that it took 3 years to complete its sculpture, as the length of the Sphinx is 73 meters, and its height is 20 meters. So it took 100 workers to sculpt this statue throughout its formation, and the method of carving was using ancient stone hammers and chisels made of copper, and before starting the carving process, a drawing was made the statue through a group of ancient dies, as these drawings represented the primitive engineering structure of the sculpting process. The goal of building the Sphinx statue. Why did the Egyptians build the Sphinx statue? The Sphinx statue was built facing the sunrise, as it was completely carved from limestone of a mysterious creature that contains common characteristics between the lion and man, with the presence of the statue at the body of a lion sitting in front of the disk of the sun and its head carved in the form of a royal human being, where the lion embodies the symbol of strength and solidity. As for the human head, it symbolizes wisdom, and everyone who visits the site of this statue was amazed at the symbolism that the Sphinx refers to, as if the statue was standing near the 3 pyramids of Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure to protect them, as this great statue accompanied the pyramids for thousands of years, and the ancient Egyptians aimed to build this statue would act as a guard for the tombs, pyramids and ancient Egyptian temples to keep them safe from thieves. Geological factors and climatic factors greatly affect the historical monuments, and this effect is greater as the chronological age of the historical landmark extends, as the influence of geological and climatic factors increases with the passage of time, especially since the age of building the Great Sphinx is estimated at about 4,500 years, and erosion factors have contributed to the Sphinx was subjected to a degree of erosion in some aspects of the body of the statue from the lower region in particular, and the distortion of this great Egyptian statue was not limited to subjecting to some weather, climatic and natural conditions, but was affected by human intervention that led to distortion in the head area of the statue, specifically in the area of the nose, where the statue's nose was cut off, leaving it deformed. There are several accounts indicating the reasons for cutting off the nose of the statue, including that Napoleon's army took the Sphinx as a target for training and fired one of the cannons towards the nose, and there are historical accounts indicating the responsibility of a man called Muhammad Saim, who was a Muslim of the 14th century, for that, as he by distorting the nose area, considering that the statue is a fetish that should not remain with clear features so as not to be worshipped, and the competent authorities are making unremitting efforts to preserve the historical heritage of ancient Egyptian civilization, including this historical statue that indicates the greatness of Egyptian architecture.